Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Moving Right Along, a Muppet movie podcast brought to you by toughpigs.com. It's the podcast where we watch The Muppet Christmas Carol 2 minutes at a time and talk about it a lot. I'm your host, Anthony Strand.
And I'm your other host, Ryan Rowe.
And joining us today, we have a first-time guest, longtime friend. So excited you're finally on the podcast. Introduce yourself, guest.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sarah Elizabeth Grace, and I have waited my whole life for this moment.
Your whole life. You're only 4.5 years old. You're ready to come on our podcast.
I have obviously been in the adjacent periphery of Tough Pigs since the ripe old year of 2011. But this is my first time being on any Tough Pigs podcast.
Oh, wow.
That's wild. That's really wild.
So I try really hard because there's so many amazing dedicated fans who are a part of this world or who are listeners, and I really defer to their experience and their interests. I try not to, as much as I've always been a huge lifelong Muppet fan, I try to, have them have their space in this amazing community that you've built and maintain. But when it comes to the Muppet Christmas Carol, I feel like I've earned my spot. So I'm so
we knew you were one of the first names on our list of okay, we know that Sarah is one of the biggest fans of Muppet Christmas Carol that we know. So yeah, we had to have you on for this.
I love this movie so much, and I appreciate that you thought of me because I would have Miss Piggied my way in otherwise. So I appreciate your graciousness about that.
Awesome. Well, we're thrilled to have you, and Sarah is joining us to talk about minutes 47 and 48 of Muppet Christmas Carol. And in these minutes, Belle finishes When Love Is Gone, and Rizzo cries about it.
This is actually one of the cleanest cuts of a 2-minute clip that we've had in this entire movie. And I mean, we'll get to all of this, but it ends so perfectly at the end of this clip.
It ends with Rizzo crying and Gonzo comforting him.
Yeah.
But before that, basically the first half of this clip is Belle singing the song by herself, continuing the song, singing by herself. So Sarah, you weren't here for the opening of the song. So do you want to start us off? Just what are your general thoughts about When Love Is Gone?
Well, I grew up on the VHS of Muppet Christmas Carol. I did not see it in theaters. I was a little too young. I'm also the oldest of 4 kids, so I don't think my mom was going to drag a bunch of kids to see a movie when they were all toddlers. But the VHS was in our house, used year round. My mom hid the VHS from me because she thought I'd get sick of it. I watched it definitely not just during Christmas. I was obsessed with this film. So When Love Is Gone to me is canonically a huge part of the film. It's the
Sure.
linchpin. So as an adult, as a kid, I know it was kind of the boring part, and I'd be like, okay, when's this gonna be over? So Rizzo was like the white chocolate on the stick, and then he got broken, and then they had a big party, and then this lady sings. This lady sings an old, kind of a slow song, and then Rizzo cries, and then it's a Christmas present. But as an adult, I love this number so much, and it's another Christmas. She says another year before our wedding, and he's like, "Well, it can't be helped, Belle. It's business continues to be poor." And she's like, "That's what you said last year." And he's like, "I don't know what to tell you." And she's like, "Well, I'm going to tell you this. We're done." And she starts singing When Love Is Gone. And it is... Have you guys talked about how Paul Williams made these songs?
A little bit.
So when Paul Williams wrote these songs, they were a reflection of his addiction and his recovery. And When Love Is Gone is this beautiful, I feel like, love letter to somebody who stands up and says, you know what, this relationship is not going to work for me and I need to leave. And I love you so much, but I love my dreams and my hopes more. And Belle and I know, Anthony, you're a big fan of the book. She goes and has a family after this. She leaves Scrooge and she immediately has a marriage and children and lives a beautiful life that she wanted. And Scrooge can't do it because he has anxious attachment, avoidant attachment. And he has trauma and he can't show up for her. And so she sings this song, and it's so beautiful and it has so much grace and dignity, both for her and her love for him. And I will probably cry talking about it because I think there's no way they did not have to go this hard. They did not have to go this hard in this movie.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Meredith Braun has had so many amazing, stories and her own. I can't wait to listen to what she had to say about this number, because it's also, she gets this beautiful spotlight. And again, I don't even know if this would be something that they would make today,
Yeah, you have to wonder if today they would give it to like a famous young up and coming singer, or, some kind of, starlet.
Like some sort of stunt casting.
Yeah.
Right. And it's this gentle, like, this doesn't serve me anymore, and I wish you well, and I feel sorry for you that these are your choices.
Yeah.
There's no resentment in her at all. She's made up her mind. She's not asking him to change.
Yeah.
That's
something that really struck me just watching it for these 2 minutes is she's sad, but she doesn't seem so overwhelmed with emotion. It does come across that she has already thought about this, and she's already made the decision, like you say, that if Scrooge doesn't, if he doesn't come through this time, that's it. She's breaking it off, and that's what she does. She's very matter of fact about it, even though she's emotional.
Yeah, she talks about his choices calling him away. I mean, I'm happy to hop into the second two, or the my 2 minutes, but she talks about his choices calling him away, and it is something that is about Scrooge's journey, is that all he can really commit to is money and wealth and ambition, and not to be generous with it, just to hoard it, right? Like he's this hoarder for wealth. And then she just looks at him when she goes on the little bridge, and she looks at him and she says, "Be careful, or you may regret the choice you make someday." And then looks straight ahead. She does not look back at him at all. That's the last thing she says, looking at him. And he looks at her, and he turns.
Young Scrooge.
Young Scrooge. Old Scrooge is on the other side of the bridge.
Just
we'll get to him in a second. Yes. So young Scrooge, she looks to young Scrooge and says that, because she can't see old Scrooge. Nobody can see him. Looks to him, looks out to the bridge, to her future, right? To the audience. Young Scrooge looks at her, turns away, then looks back at her and sees that she's just already moved on, and he's so hurt, but he can't express it, and he can't say I'm sorry, and he just has no tools. He has no tools for intimacy.
It kind of seems like he's been it takes him a while to get it, I think, for him to understand what she's really saying. And then he's just kind of watching like, should I say something? Should I do something here? And then he realizes that he can't. It's too late.
He can't.
So he turns away.
Nothing to say, nothing to do.
He thinks it's too late, but as we know, it's never too late to love and to connect and to make amends for your mistakes and to be a better person. And what's amazing is when he turns after that double back, and he turns and he walks away, but there's a close-up on old Scrooge, on our Scrooge. We'll call him our Scrooge. On our Scrooge. And he's like, "You idiot. What are you doing?" Yeah. And it's like, he realizes in that moment he wasn't thinking at all. He wasn't thinking about his future. He wasn't thinking about what's best for him or what he really needs. He was only thinking about his pride and his inability to connect. He couldn't. He was just like you said, just shrugging and leaving. And he's like, God, he didn't make any effort. I didn't make any effort at all to keep this beautiful woman in my life. And then he gets on the bridge.
He starts singing.
Oh, I'm gonna cry.
Yeah.
He starts singing. First of all, Michael Caine in the early 90s looks like my dad. And my dad doesn't cry, because he's a Michigan engineer. Like, he does not cry.
Okay.
But when Michael Caine cries, it's like I'm watching my dad cry, and it breaks my heart. Oh
yeah.
And he's this whole past. Ghost of Christmas Past has said, they're but shadows, they can't see you, they can't hear you, there's nothing you can do. And so he's been just watching this whole time. He's just been like observing his past and these characters and his personal narrative. So when he's behind her and singing, it was almost love, it was almost always, it was like a fairy tale that would live out you and I. And yes, some dreams come true. And yes, some dreams cry, fall through. And yes, the time has come for us to say goodbye. And she's looking out, she's looking at her future, and he's watching her watch her future, and he's feeling sorry for himself and sad and just remorseful, and he's crying. And we're going to get to that in a second. I have a whole thing about that. And then this is what breaks me. This is what breaks me and Rizzo. She turns to look at him young Scrooge walking away, and he did not expect that she was going to turn her face. And Michael Caine makes this choice as an actor where he tips his head down to look at her, to like try to see as much of her face as he can, because he didn't anticipate her turning and being so close to where he was and looking at this beautiful woman who, like, everything that she's doing in that moment are the qualities that he admired in her the first moment that he met her. And what makes her so beautiful and special is the same reason why she was able to walk away and choose herself. And he loves her in that moment. He admires her in that moment. And he feels haunted by the fact that, like, he was such a coward. That's what he would have called himself, I assume, not knowing that, like, he has trauma, because he does. But like,
he didn't have the same words for it that we might have now.
They did not have the same words now. But like, it's just there's so much grief in that one moment. And and then she walks away, and Rizzo and I both weep.
Wow.
And that's the clip.
Yeah. So, Anthony, I don't know how you had your notes organized.
I'm sorry.
I was going to say,
One, I wasn't planning to go through it line by line or anything that.
Okay.
Because I don't think that works for this song.
Okay.
2, Sarah, I'm so glad you're here for this.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, I don't think we could have gotten that much insight from anybody else. We know a lot of people who love that song, but
right. We invited you here to talk about this song. You don't need to apologize for having insightful thoughts about it. Come on.
I just don't want to take anybody else. I want to hear everybody's opinion about this, and I have more to say about Scrooge crying. But let's go to Anthony.
Here's what's going to happen: is Ryan and I are going to be like, "Oh, when I was a kid, I thought this song was boring. Oh, but now I think it's good because."
How dare you reduce 16 bullet points to 2 sentences?
Well, no, but like for me though, it's true. Like, so we should. I mean, you alluded to this, Sarah, but I as a kid having seen this on VHS first, and I'm older than you. I was 8 when the movie came out, but I didn't see it in the theater. Saw it when I was 9 on video for the first time. So I never knew that this song wasn't in the theater. I never like the 2002 DVD also is full screen only. And it has only the version with the song. So 2005, the widescreen DVD comes out, doesn't have the song. That's the first time I ever knew anything about this song not being in the movie.
Right.
I had never heard of it, didn't know it was a thing. And I think that's pretty common.
Yeah.
I think like most fans didn't think about like, oh, there's that classic song put back in. Like the VHS doesn't say extended edition, doesn't say new song.
No, it doesn't say director's cut.
Know? Right. So I spent that 12 years then, 1993 through 2005, ages 9 through 21, being like, oh, that song's so boring. Why do they have a human sing a song in a Muppet movie that's boring? Yeah. That's about humans having emotions.
That is like the only opinion of children and adolescents. Anytime an adult sings for too long in a Muppet movie, it's like, what's going on?
No. Why?
Well, or a musical in general, even. So my thing, I actually did see this in the theater though, but I guess I only saw it once in the theater, and then I got it on VHS for Christmas the following year. I guess I didn't realize that there was a song on the VHS that hadn't been in the movie. I don't know. I guess it just didn't register. But yeah, but then I did spend a lot of years thinking of it as this really boring song. And I had this whole, when I was young and I thought I was so very smart, I had this thing I would talk about, my theory of the boring song, that every musical has a boring song and nobody likes it, but it's there. And everybody just goes to the kitchen to get more popcorn or whatever. Let's see. I wrote an article actually in 2007 called on the Tough Pigs website called 27 Things to Do During When Love Is Gone. And I talked about the theory of boring songs. In the article, I say this is a slow number. The boring song is usually a slow number, usually about some dull subject like love, during which the kids in the audience start fidgeting and the grown-ups' attention starts drifting to more interesting thoughts like APR financing. And in the article, I cited I've Never Been in Love Before from Guys and Dolls and Hopelessly Devoted to You from the movie version of Grease. I'm saying this is 2007. This is 2007.
Here comes the most shocking one, though.
At the time, I probably would have... wait, how do you know what's the next one?
Isn't it going to be Why Am I So Romantic?
Oh, yes, that was... I don't know if that was in my article, but that was also on my list. Why Am I So Romantic from the Marx Brothers movie Animal Crackers, which is sung by two lovebirds who are not Marx Brothers.
But one of them is Lillian Roth. So as good as a Marx Brothers.
Yeah.
Equally as good as a Marx Brothers.
I think at the time I probably would
check out Animal Crackers, Sarah.
Yes. At the time I probably would have even included Feed the Birds from Mary Poppins, because when I was a little kid, that was just a song to sit through to wait until the next interesting thing happened. But then...
to be fair, Feed the Birds is something that could have been cut.
For me, the boring song in Mary Poppins is not a song. It's that like 45 minutes where they just go hang out at the bank.
At the bank, sure. Yeah.
Those bank guys scared the out of me. I hated it.
I mean, it's important to the story, I guess.
When the old bank man floated up to the ceiling and everybody panicked, that no thank you.
Yeah, not into it. Nakvade Keed, right?
Actually, my wife Roz told me that when she was a kid, she thought those were two different movies. Like Mary Poppins was like the fun movie about jumping into a painting and a spoonful of sugar and all that. And then there was also like some other movie about a bank and some kids.
Right.
And it had the same kids as Mary Poppins.
I believe it.
That's funny because another one of my examples, which I've seen other people actually cite a lot since the announcement about When Love Is Gone being restored to the movie, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, the song Cheer Up Charlie.
Oh, Cheer Up Charlie. Come on. Garbage. Bad.
No, that's the one we could all... there are two things that we can agree on as a country, and it's that daylight savings time should be abolished.
Yes.
And that Cheer Up Charlie is hot garbage.
Okay, so I was going to conclude all of this by saying that's the one that I still think is the boring song. Okay, we all agree on that then.
We all agree.
Right. But... Sorry, go ahead. You're not done?
Yeah, no, I was... The side note to that was going to be that when I was a kid watching Willy Wonka, the little, like, interstitial sketches about people going crazy trying to find golden tickets, I used to think that those were on my tape by mistake because it wasn't about Charlie. It wasn't about, the characters that we knew. Like, so when the guy is punching buttons on the computer, trying to get the computer to tell him where the golden ticket is, or... The one especially when the lady,
the husband is being
her husband has been kidnapped, and they want to know where her supply of Wonka bars is. I was like, wait, this is the wrong movie. Like, what happened? Why did it go to this different movie? I want to watch Willy Wonka again.
Right, but anyway. But no, it makes sense that one was weirder because the computer one, the guy is Tim Brooke Taylor from The Goodies, a British sketch show, and even if you don't know The Goodies, Tim Brooke Taylor just has like a comedy face.
Yeah.
And so like some like weird British guy is punching into a computer. Sure, that feels like Willy Wonka.
It doesn't but it doesn't totally match like Charlie, this poor child, miserable and living in poverty.
It is a very, not to get too off track, but Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory has a lot of problems structurally and tonally. So I guess we can all agree on that.
That's probably true. I haven't watched it in a while, but
what I was going to say about structural problems is a good segue though, because this movie has structural problems when you remove this song.
Yeah, so there are
crying?
A couple things. So over the years, I will link, by the way, to my 27 Things to Do During When Love Is Gone article because I still think it's funny, even though I don't really agree with the basic premise of it anymore.
Is it 27?
Article.
It's 27. Yes.
Is it 27 because that's Weird Al's favorite number?
I am sure that was why. I don't specifically remember that was why, but I have to think that it must be because that's the number that frequently appears in in Weird Al's projects. But yeah, it was very, like, a lot of them are silly. Like, one of them is stand on your head and say, Belle, what in tarnation are you doing standing on the ceiling? So
that is such a Ryan Rowe joke.
I didn't seriously intend it to be, you know, a guide for things that people should do instead of paying attention to the song. But, yeah, no, now I'm older and I'm more mature and sophisticated and, emotionally mature. So I like a lot of these boring songs now. I like Why Am I So Romantic from Animal Crackers. I think it's a very lovely song, even though it doesn't have Marx Brothers in it. And over the years, I've seen so many people defend When Love Is Gone, and then I realized, like, okay, this is actually a good song, even though there are no Muppets in it.
Well, what I was going to say is I remember when that DVD came out in 2005, the Kermit's 50th anniversary edition, which I think is hilarious.
Why not?
Right. But I remember, like, being excited that there was a version without the song.
Oh, and
saying on the Tough Pigs forum, like, widescreen and no When Love Is Gone. It's the perfect version of the movie. And then I watched it and I realized that the movie is significantly worse without it.
Was going not to mention the ending is like completely, you know, kneecapped because you don't get the emotional resonance of When Love Is Found if love was ever gone.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Please, you can't, sorry to get so high pitched, but like you cannot have an effective reprise. If anybody who loves Les Mis knows, unless you've heard the song before and go, wait a second.
Let me ask you a question, Sarah, because I know you're a big Singing in the Rain fan.
Love it.
And that movie ends with a reprise of a song that was cut. You Are My Lucky Star.
Don't they sing that? No, because she sings that.
To the Billboard? No, that's a deleted scene on the DVD. It's not in the movie.
But she was singing it like it's like, okay, you're gonna sing one of the songs, and then they start singing it. I don't remember.
Because the big number of it was supposed to be her singing it to a billboard of Don Lockwood, and that was cut.
These are all fair. Even if it was cut, there's a lot. There's a whole Broadway melody musical inside of the movie. Like even if it had been sung earlier, I think our attention would not remember that. And also, it's not like that
because there's so many songs
of emotional resonance. Yeah, there's a ton of songs.
Yeah, no, I'm not trying to gotcha. I just wanted to talk to you about Singing in the Rain as long as you brought it up. Yeah.
I love it. Although I will say, as an adult woman who is in her now mid-30s, the efficacy of a 19-year-old being sort of like picked up and swooped away by a 40-year-old just doesn't have the same kind of punch it did when I was in high school.
Yikes.
Unfortunately. And like was like mentally and physically tortured to create the film. There's less. I still love Gene Kelly. Everybody check out my Gene Kelly article on toughpigs.com. It is, I think, the only thing I've written for Tough Pigs, but I stand by it as, again, I'm a niche expert, but I did review it.
You reviewed the episode, his Muppet Show episode. Yeah.
I did. But yes, it's sometimes but who was a good guy back then? And I'll tell you who wasn't a good guy, Scrooge. He did not treat Belle.
No, but the other, I was going to say, the other part of my own personal evolution of this song was the part when Michael Caine comes in and starts singing along and, you know, half singing along because he's crying and he can't even form the words. Like, just really paying attention to that part of it, that's what made me go like, oh, okay, not only do I accept that this song is fine and it should be in the movie, like I actually really like this song now.
Michael Caine has the most effective incremental character arc of any Scrooge I have ever seen. And I will go to bat about this. I know Anthony and I have not necessarily the same opinion about this, but in my world, in my experience, the incremental change that Scrooge has and the emotional processing he has throughout the entire film is so effective and one of the best Michael Caine performances, period. And I think it might be again, I find the number and the way he sings and processes that scene to be like the linchpin of Scrooge's development, setting him up for Christmas Present.
Right. No, I mean, I think that you think this would be more of a like I love George C. Scott, as you know. That's what you're alluding to. But
that you wouldn't necessarily agree that he has the best Scrooge arc,
right? That my favorite Scrooge is George C. Scott.
Okay,
but Michael Caine is real close. Like it's not like I'm like Michael Caine in Muppet Christmas Carol is garbage. No, he's amazing, and it's an incredible performance. Of course, I agree.
And also, George C. Scott also looks like my dad, so maybe my dad should be Scrooge at some point.
Maybe he should. Maybe he should. No, I was going to say though, I think it kind of also makes it more effective that Michael Caine clearly is not a singer. Like he's fine. He can carry a tune. It's not like he's embarrassing himself or something, but like you can tell this isn't a guy who sings professionally.
No.
You know, and Meredith Braun, you can tell like she was, as we discussed with her on the podcast last week, she was playing Eponine 8 times a week.
On the West End.
Right. On the West End, right before she did this movie.
Right. Wow.
And you can hear that in her performance, you know? And so for Michael Caine, it feels very vulnerable for him to get up and sing next to her, even though he's a giant movie star and she's not. Like you can tell that he's the one who is out on a limb here, you know, in a certain way.
Yes. And it makes the moment, the emotional truth of the moment that much more effective because it's like he is participating in his own healing and his own reconciliation of that moment where he is also recognizing that it was almost love and it was almost always, and it was like a fairy tale would live out him and her. Like it's this moment where he's so walled up and resentful and hateful and judgmental and mean and cruel for the purposes of making sure he never has any connection ever, and that nobody can get in and nobody's allowed in. And even his nephew, who like cheerily tries to break down his door, like, no, thank you. Goodbye, sir. Like, and in that moment, you're completely right. It's the quality of his voice, not just the presentation of his performance, but vocally, you hear, like, it just works so well. And again, like if you had Hugh Jackman doing it, it would sound beautiful, but it wouldn't be the same.
No,
you know?
I don't think it would have the same effect. Right. And you mentioned, you emphasized her line, what is it? The choices that you make, you may regret someday.
Be careful, or you may regret the choice you make someday.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we're seeing. That day has come when he's looking at it from a different perspective and really regretting it.
And what's so beautiful about that, I'm going to yes and that idea. It seems as if there have been moments in his life where he has, because nobody who's ready to be that vulnerable and emotionally experience the things he is experiencing, as we can see on his face throughout the entire Ghost of Christmas Past scenes. This is not new information for him. It's just the first time he's been able to really reconcile with these feelings and look at them and accept them and process them in real time. And it's like he's actually, I want to say he's just present. He's present for those difficult feelings, and that's what breaks his heart, you know?
Right.
And it's like he's privately crying when she's not looking at him. And that's what, you know, he's choking up and he's singing and he's like processing his own grief and he's processing that moment. And then when she turns her head and he's looking at her, it's like, that's when he feels, instead of like, no, I can't be sad. Like I can't, even though she can't see me, it's like he's been behaving all the time. Like, you know, maybe he could be seen, you know, by these people from the past. And instead he like falls apart in front of her in a way that young Scrooge never could, because he didn't yet live with all those regrets and all that loneliness.
Yeah, I guess young Scrooge is just, I mean, he's disappointed, but he's just going to wander off and go count his money,
make
and
a bunch of
business
money
with Marley and Marley. Yeah.
Well, he doesn't know yet how important personal connection is, and he doesn't know yet what's in store for him in his life. And I think that a lot of us, you know, I know that all of us are, you know, 40s and 30s in this chat. And I think that there are things that we thought life was going to just give us, you know, as teens and 20 somethings, or when we're kids, that just it doesn't happen that way. Like life is a lot of work, and connection and intimacy is a lot of work. And he's just, I think young Scrooge is just like, I'm sure I'll find another girl.
Yeah,
or
well,
I'll be ready.
Yeah,
I'll be ready later. I'll be ready later.
Yeah.
And she might still be around, or maybe I don't need anybody anyway. Right.
And all of this is why, you know, a 6-year-old kid, a 10-year-old kid, whoever watching this movie can't possibly appreciate the song at that age.
Right. Fully. Yeah.
Not fully. Yeah, that's true. But again, if you just cut it out, it's just you did once. And then she crosses the bridge and Rizzo cries. And we're like,
Rizzo starts bawling. Yeah.
No, it's still very sad that she's just breaking up with him and walking away, but it's not nearly as effective when she doesn't go through the whole thing.
Sure. But also without the song, Meredith Braun's screen time is like 2 minutes, maybe.
Right.
Like, it's like, seriously,
I
think 30 seconds. Like she says, oh, here's Belle. And they look, and then they jump to another Christmas, and then they have like that little line thing, and then she leaves. Like, who gives a
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I think actually one of my objections during my boring song period was the fact that Belle has so little screen time, and then like, oh, they're supposed to care. You know, we're supposed to care about this character who we just met one scene ago. But really, like, she sells it. It's all there.
Well, she showed who she was and why she was important to him and what she could have brought to his life through the song Show Don't Tell.
Through the song, right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, Ryan, so would a young Ryan have enjoyed this scene more and this song more if Belle had been played by your favorite Miss Mousey?
Well, I can tell you 2007 Ryan, who wrote that article, definitely would have liked it more if it were Miss Mousey. This
is can I say the Photoshop you did about Miss Mousey, or do you not want me to? So around that same time, Ryan made a Photoshop of Miss Mousey's face on Britney Spears' body.
Well, what was the joke that inspired it? I don't remember. I don't remember. I think somebody on the Tough Pigs forum, who was not me, made a joke about like Miss Mousey being the hottest Muppet or something.
Probably. That sounds right.
This is why I don't usually post on Tough Pigs. I can't get into this stuff. I can't.
Yeah.
Because Sarah, it's all nonsense.
It's nonsense.
Anyway,
but there's somebody out there who's like, yeah, Miss Mousey though, for real.
I mean,
we don't know for sure that it wasn't your spouse. No, I don't know.
No, I don't. I mean, now I'm going to have to go back and find it.
That does.
But no, Ryan in 1992, I might have, I probably would have been like excited to see Miss Mousey. Like, whoa, here's this weird Muppet character that I saw on an old Muppet special on Nickelodeon one time, and now she's in this movie. So yeah, I think so.
You would have, yeah. Awesome. All right, well, we're kind of down to the end of the clip, I guess, but we have a few other things to discuss.
Great.
Any other thoughts about the song or Sarah, the movie in general, before we close?
Oh God, the movie in general. We don't have time. So like the most amazing thing about this film is that I, from what I understand, and I could be wrong, it is incredibly close to the book, and it doesn't take a lot of liberties in a way that other adaptations do, and maybe just rightfully so for entertainment reasons, or to take the structure or the sort of themes of the story and make it a little bit more interesting. But Michael Caine sells the out of this role. Like, he is an incredible Scrooge. Yeah. And the movie itself is incredibly moving. It is fast. Muppet Christmas Carol is one of my favorite films, period. Like, it is in my top 10, hardcore.
Sure.
I think it is effective. I think everyone is acting the crap out of their roles, and it is reconciling with the fact that like people can change, and here's how. And again, Paul Williams talks about this with his recovery and the songs that he writes, and I think that's one of the other reasons why it's so good. I think this is going to sound a little like, Crystal Havy, Zodiac Reedy perspective, but I think there are certain things that have magic in them. And I think Muppet Christmas Carol is just one of those one of those times, it was the wake of Jim's death. It was the wake of Richard Hunt's death. This could have been a complete disaster. This could have been a Muppets from Space. No offense. But like
we didn't make it.
I know. I'm just saying, no offense for any Muppets from Space people who are like, what? I love that movie. This is just for me. But like the perfect storm of Paul Williams coming out of recovery and having this be his first project. The perfect storm of like, oh my gosh, his name is escaping me because I'm not a huge nerd. Jerry Jewell, to write the script.
Sure.
I got it. Joe's going to be so proud. And getting Michael Caine, who did want to work with the Muppets when the Muppet Show was filming in London and was never asked. And he was like, what the heck, guys? And like getting to be Scrooge. And I think, Steve Whitmire covers Kermit so amazingly. And it's just it shouldn't be this good. It just shouldn't be this good, considering what a deficit they were all working from emotionally, literally, production-wise. Like, this was their first project without Jim, really. And like,
I've been saying this, but it seems miraculous to me that this is 2 years after Jim Henson died, like a little over 2 years. And this movie came out fully formed.
And people love this movie so much. And it is not a nostalgia thing like Muppet Treasure Island. Again, no offense to those fans. But like, having recently rewatched it, I was like, no, this does not hold up at all. But like, again, this is just my opinion. Good. Don't at me.
But by the way, you've just ensured that you will be back for the following 2 seasons.
Oh, brilliant. I can't wait to trash Muppet Treasure Island.
Our whole thing that we keep saying is Anthony likes Muppets from Space more than I do, and I like Muppet Treasure Island more than Anthony does. So
can't wait to be a hater. Can't wait to piss off so many fans. But like, when I was a little girl, I loved this movie so much. Like, again, like my mom used to hide the VHS from me, and like I would scream, "God bless my little broken body," when I would jump from high heights in the summer. Like, I would remember this film all year round.
Sure.
Like, I stand this movie so hard. And then when I got sober in 2010, I had no idea that like watching Muppet Christmas Carol as a sober person was going to be a whole nother level of experience. And like, it just like, it's just so magical. And I just think that it's just a perfect film. It's just a perfect film. And I think that there's very little that is filler or that should be cut or that was a mistake. Even the vegetables don't like him. Like, come on. Like, it's such a great, I love this movie. This is the opposite of like flames on the side of my face from Clue. This is like, I just can't say how much I love this film more. Like, it makes me cry. It makes me laugh. Like, and I love, last thing is that like in a lot of Christmas Carol adaptations, Scrooge is kind of just an the whole time. And then Ghost of Christmas Future is like, you're going to die. And he's like, oh, never mind. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Everybody's so happy that I'm dead. Oh no. And then he wakes up and he's like manic, and that's the end of the movie. And instead you see this like gradual processing, and then like a defense comes up and he gets a little grumpy again. And then the defense goes away and he gets even more vulnerable and more attentive to what's around him. And he, again, like, it also just proves in the wake of like our late stage capitalism, essentially Gilded Age Part 2 with these crazy billionaires and people who are like working poor and suffering in 2022, that like sometimes it just takes seeing other people as humans to realize that there's so much that you can do. Are there no, what do you do with the poor people? Are there no workhouses? And then he falls in love with Tiny Tim. And then when Tim dies, he's like, what? No, come on, no way. And it's like, yeah, you idiot. This is what happens when you have a child and no healthcare, and the child is sick. They die. And
right.
And just, a few hours ago, he didn't care.
Exactly. It doesn't.
He didn't even know Bob Cratchit had kids. I don't know.
Probably not. Probably not.
Yeah.
And then they get to sing "When Love Is Found" at the end, and it comes full circle, and I lose my and I cry. I cry so much because I love it. I just love it so much. I love it like Rizzo loves his jelly beans.
Sure. Awesome. All right. Well, Ryan, did you have any? I don't know how to top that. But
Yeah,
Ryan,
well,
did you have any final
No,
thoughts?
I can't top that. Something did just occur to me though, as we're talking about Belle going off and living her life. Has anybody, or I assume this isn't in the book, but has anybody ever written like an unofficial sequel or spin-off or short story or fanfic about like Belle's life after leaving Scrooge, or maybe Scrooge writes her a letter?
No, it is. It is in the book. So Sarah alluded to this earlier, but let's go ahead and open up the old curiosity shop.
Yeah, please. I want to hear about it.
In the book, as we mentioned, we do not see when Belle and Scrooge meet. That doesn't happen. But what does happen is that after this scene, we see her and her family at home, and she has a bunch of kids. The narrator describes it as, it seemed like there are 40 of them, but it was every child acting like 40 because that's how many kids there are.
Yeah.
And
wait, so is this is another scene that the ghost takes Scrooge to see?
Yes, and it is explicitly the year that Jacob Marley dies. Because Belle's husband says to her that he saw an old friend of yours, Mr. Scrooge it was. I passed his office window, and as it was not shut up and he had a candle inside, I could scarcely help seeing him. His partner lies upon the point of death, I hear, and there he sat alone. Quite alone in the world, I do believe.
Okay, and, so it wasn't even just exposition briefly given. It like we actually see Belle's family.
It's a scene.
Yeah.
And actually,
but for all we knew, Scrooge never knew about it until that moment.
Until then, right?
But he was, he was being observed.
So maybe somewhere out there still there's some sort of unofficial sequel where like Scrooge is writing letters like, hey, Belle, remember me? Well, I don't hate Christmas anymore. I just thought I'd reach out and see how you're doing.
Funny you should mention it, Ryan, because one of the first ever instances of fanfic had almost that exact thing. You might recall that many episodes ago, I talked about how in February 1844, 6 weeks after the book came out, not one, not two, but 3 theatrical adaptations of A Christmas Carol premiered in London.
I do remember
that year, 6 weeks after the book came out.
Yeah.
One of them, A Christmas Carol or The Past, Present, and Future by Charles Webb. Belle's name is not Belle. Her name is Ellen Williams, explicitly. But she and Scrooge get back together in the final scene.
Whoa.
He straight up reunites them.
It's okay, well, that seems unnecessary.
Runs into his old flame, Ellen, and she's like, oh, you're nice now? Great. Let's get back together.
Wow. We should all be so lucky. Assuming, I guess, Ellen's husband died.
There's just no husband.
No! So she was like in It's a Wonderful Life. She's just an old librarian.
Yeah. Okay, can we talk about how that's the worst thing in It's a Wonderful Life? Okay, so
you know what? I will say, on its defense, and you know me, I am like I'm staunch feminist, right? And I'm like all about the gender stereotypes and eviscerating them. Yes, the old librarian is. The fact that Mary is an old librarian and a spinster, doesn't have kids, is the stupidest, like, oh no. But you know what it is? It's her, to me, it's the fact that it's her fear for the world, her fear for herself, and the fact that when George comes up to her and she like screams bloody murder, like that's the fear, is that it's like, this woman does not only have like no life, but like she is scared of me because she lives in a scary place and she has never known what it's like to be loved. Now it's like that's the world she lives in. That's how I can sleep at night and watch that film. That's the only way
that makes sense. That
probably wasn't what they intended.
Right. Well, so what I was going to say is, one, nothing wrong with being a librarian.
Hell no.
Which of course is my job, as you both know.
But the librarians are the best. They're the saviors of the world.
Yeah.
Well, we try. But every year when we watch that movie, when Clarence, as though it's a shock horror moment, says, she's just about to close up the library. Roz looks over at me and like pats my back in sympathy. But also, the reason that it bugs me the most is the movie goes out of its way to set up Mary being Sam Wainwright's unhappy rich wife. Like, her mom wants her to marry Sam Wainwright so bad. So like, why isn't she like living in a mansion on the edge of town, miserable?
Yeah, that's
they
weird.
Needed a dramaturg on that.
Right?
Needed a second pair of eyes.
I thought of this like 20 years ago, and it just seems like what she should be doing.
Yeah.
That is definitely, if you've not written that article and like posted it on Medium or something, I highly recommend you do that.
Yeah,
you should,
I
because it's
really
a great
should,
argument. And like, I think it goes along with, maybe it's a reflection on how fast these movies got made sometimes, where they just kind of were like,
true, yeah.
we know, and the idea of like what was important in terms of like arcs, and what was important in terms of like what the audience will remember when they leave, like where are they emotionally at that point, and where can we push them emotionally for the end, because none of these at that time, they were like, people might come back to watch it in theaters maybe, but nobody's going to be rewatching this.
Right.
No, people didn't know that they were going to do that when they made these movies.
Was that was an original screenplay that wasn't based on a book?
It's based on a short story.
Oh, okay.
Right.
So there might not have been all those details in the short story.
Right. I've never read it. I should.
This definitely sounds like an Anthony Strand project.
Yeah. Well, and as long as we're talking about viewing projects and Christmas films, just to keep myself honest, I have made a list of something like 16 adaptations of not a Muppet Christmas Carol, the other one. I've made myself a list of something like 16 adaptations of A Christmas Carol that I'm going to try to get watched either by Christmas or by the time we finish recording this season, whichever comes first. I have mentioned thus far I watched Mr. Magoo's Christmas Carol, which was very good. Since then, I have also watched the 1910 silent Christmas Carol that's like
Thomas
13
Edison
minutes
movie.
long. Yeah.
Wow.
That was pretty good. There's some really cool.
I liked it too.
Yeah, really cool tricks with like half the frame being Scrooge and the ghosts, and then the other half is like these see-through images of his past and the future. Yeah, so for the time, I'm sure that was like mind-blowing special effects.
Totally. And I will say, in one of those adaptations, you will see a scene of Belle and her family and her husband being like, I was in town and I saw that. Like,
right.
I remember distinctly.
It's in the George C. Scott movie, for sure.
That's the one.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
I remember seeing that in one of the movies and being like, okay. Because, of course, I also was in A Christmas Carol. It was my first equity show that I was ever in.
Was it really?
I played Martha Cratchit, and I was blown away that there was no Belinda or Bettina. Actually, I think there actually was. Yeah. You know, now that I think about it, there was a Belinda. I think it was Martha and Belinda, and then the two boys, but they weren't Peter.
In the book, I believe it is Peter. It's okay, but there's like in the book, there's like a thing. Again, I haven't gotten to this in my reread, yet. But I know there's definitely a line about the two smallest Cratchits.
Oh, okay.
Which Tiny Tim is not one of the two. Tiny Tim is not even one of the two smallest Cratchits.
Oh,
interesting. Two smaller ones.
Yeah, there's
Tinier Tim and Tiniest Tim.
5 kids. Yeah, so probably not Peter then, right? Yeah.
I don't know. All I knew is that I worked in a hat shop and I was able to be home for Christmas. That was what I knew.
Sure.
Okay.
See. Master Peter Cratchit is mentioned in the book. I just did a Control F search on the Project Gutenberg version.
The other adaptation that I have watched is the animated version of The Stingiest Man in Town, which is pretty good. Mostly Walter Matthau as the voice of Scrooge is like perfect casting.
That's good casting.
And it has a lot of talk about Santa Claus. A person who is not mentioned in the book at all.
Right,
There's
right.
like two
you don't
songs
usually
about
think
Santa
of
Claus.
Santa as entering into the story, but
yeah,
there doesn't seem to be room for more than one gray-headed man in these stories.
Right, yeah.
Right, yeah. But all right, so that brings us just about down to the end. Sarah, we have our 3 questions that we ask, and the first one I think you've kind of covered, which is what's your history with this movie?
I 100% have covered that, so I will not bore you all the same stories.
Never. And
sorry, there's one other thing. Sorry, one other thing that I will say about the first question is that I have a rule. Not that I hide my VHS anymore, but I have a rule that I do not watch it, even though it's become trendier and trendier to start Christmas November 1st. I do not watch the film until after my birthday, which is November 21st. Sometimes I have watched it on my birthday. Sometimes it's right after my birthday, but that is also now my current tradition with it. And I'm very excited that we can stream it on Disney Plus with the full version that I know and love. It makes me so happy.
Yes, which we are waiting for as of this recording, but when this is released, listeners can go watch that right now.
Yeah, it'll be there
because it's on there. And if I understand correctly, it's under like special features.
Or extras.
Will be under extras.
Yeah.
The default version will still be the shorter version, I believe.
Yes.
But so if you go into extras, you can watch the whole movie, or do you
the
like
whole
just
movie with the song? Yes, the whole movie with
it's
the
not
song.
like a running in there, like watching the deleted scene.
No,
out.
That's what people have had to do up to now. But
yes.
I want to know though, do you still have that VHS tape?
No, I mean, actually,
that's fine. I don't have most of my old Muppet VHS tapes anymore.
I imagine it's in my parents' house somewhere. I don't think they got rid of I don't think they got rid of it. I'm sure it's just in a bin for Christmas, and I can check. I can check.
Yeah. I mean, it's no, like, I will confess that I sold my old VHS copy of The Frog Prince not long ago, or donated it to Goodwill.
I think we have it still.
I have many ways of watching The Frog Prince, so.
I have The Frog Prince on tape still.
All right.
And I also have, do you know what else I have?
You have a Selectavision disc of the Muppet movie.
Well, that is true, but I was going to say a popover Froggy.
Of course.
It's from that movie, from that TV special, rather. So then, Sarah, actually, I think you've kind of answered the other two questions as well, which are, do you watch it every year? You just said yeah. And then where do you rank it among the Muppet movies?
Okay.
I think you've answered that, but clarify.
So it's hard because I understand that my personal affinity for the film is why it's number one. It is not objectively the best Muppet film. I don't
think there's such a thing as that.
I think when you're ranking movies, it can't be objective. It has to be subjective because you're the one doing the ranking and it's your opinion.
This is fair. I also am a huge fan of Gonzo, and it's Gonzo's film, you know?
Yeah.
I've never personally met Dave Goelz. He is one of my white whales of meeting Muppet performers, for sure. It's like Dave Goelz, Cookie Monster, hugging Big Bird. I've been on set with Big Bird, but I never didn't get to hug him. I did get to hug Snuffy, and that is a treasure. I have a picture. I'll try to send it. Those are my two. And Gonzo's everything. Non-binary icon, Gonzo.
Right. Yeah. There you go. As discussed in a Tough Pigs article that we will link to in the show notes.
Oh, please. Yeah. And it's funny, more and more of my friends who just enjoy and love the Muppets, their go-to is Gonzo. They're like, oh yeah, Gonzo. He's one of us.
A really popular choice, for the general public fans.
Gender fluidity, LGBTQ community.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We all love a big-nosed weirdo who's not quite sure where he's from, but he's just happy to be here and wants to jump out of a rocket.
And his friends are all just cool with him.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, I just love this movie so much. I love it so much. Thank you so much for letting me come on here and spill my guts and cry. I cried, by the way.
Sharing your passion for it with us.
Yeah.
I cry so much. And I just can I just say one more thing about the movie that I really love?
Of course.
I love so much about this movie. But one of the things, just in case I don't come back, that I really want just to mention about Scrooge's arc and Scrooge's tears and Scrooge's crying is that when he's in the graveyard and Ghost of Christmas Future is pointing to the gravestone and Scrooge deliberately points to another gravestone to be like, oh, you mean that one? The one that he knows isn't his? And then the future's no, that one. And he's like, crap. and then he's already trying to pull back and make it better. Before he even touches the gravestone, he's like, I know I can fix this. I don't even need to see this. I don't even need to see this because he thinks that he's already ahead of he it's like when you're grieving, I know we've all probably gone through something, whether it's just hopefully nothing too horrible, but I know we've all gone through something, right? And that has caused us grief. And I think we all go through a point of it where we think we're done. You know what? It's been 2 months, it's been 6 months, it's been a year. I'm done grieving. I'm done. I've tapped out. It's over. I'd like to be better now. Or actually, I've decided today is the day I'm better. And then another grief wave just hits you and you're like, fine, I'll let the process take what it takes. And that is Scrooge's whole arc in this film. Every single time he's about to have a really vulnerable moment or have a huge change or a huge sort of seminal moment that will bring him a lot of change, at first he deflects or tries to put that wall back up, and then that wall gets knocked down or he gets invested, and then that's what creates the change. And very last thing, I just love this movie so much. When he's really giddy, when he wakes up and he knows he's not dead and everything's fine, there's one moment where he passes the mirror and he sees how like harried he looks, and he looks at his hair and he's like, and he like waves it away. And that's also just such a good moment. I cried every single time I watched this clip that you sent me about those, because it's not because I like to cry. It's just that good. It's just that good. It didn't have to go this hard, and it went that hard, and it's so good. And I just love it so much.
No, you're right. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Sarah. It's been truly a delight, truly a thrill. And listeners, that's it for today. We'll be back next week with another episode. But in the meantime, please check out toughpigs.com on the internet. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We're posting
if Twitter
nonsense
still exists by the time this episode comes out.
Right. Yeah, that's true. It's November 14th now. Who knows?
We'll see.
Who knows what Twitter will be up to at that time. But you can always become a patron of Tough Pigs on Patreon. We would appreciate that. And you can always email us at movingrightalong@toughpigs.com. You can follow Ryan on Twitter at @MeRyanRowe. You can follow Ryan on Letterboxd at Movies Are Neat. And you can follow me on Letterboxd at Zeppo Marxist. We would appreciate your thoughts about Animal Crackers, Singing in the Rain, It's a Wonderful Life, whatever you got. Sarah, where can our listeners
specifically about Why Am I So Romantic? Let me hear what you think of it.
Yeah, tell me what you think about Beautiful Girl from Singing in the Rain. Sarah, where can our listeners find you and your work online?
You can find me on Instagram, because I got out of Twitter way before this debacle. You can find me on Instagram at Sarah, that's an H, Sarah with an H, Sarah Eliz Grace. You can also find my Substack, which is where all my writing is, called Grace and Storms. That's on Substack. And Beautiful Girls is a bit of a filler number on Singing in the Rain, but it does have a very, very young Rita Moreno, so it ain't so bad.
Oh, I don't think
That's true. That's true. It does. Yeah. A person who is still alive. That film is 70 years old. She's
Bless her.
Still working. Like, she's the best.
The best.
But yeah, all right. Thank you so much again for joining us today, Sarah. And listeners, thank you to Morgan Davy for our logo. I did not say that. Morgan's beautiful logo graces our podcast on any of your podcatchers of choice. And you can also buy a t-shirt with it on our Tough Pigs Tea Public store. And we would appreciate if you did that. You can also give us that positive review you've been meaning to give us, and tell everyone you've ever met to listen to Moving Right Along. We'll be back next week with another episode. See you then.
Bye.
Tell me, dear, why am I so romantic? When you're near, why am I so romantic? What a grand feeling when your lips meet mine. That's certain something comes stealing up and down my spine. I don't know what it is you do to me. You don't know half of the good you do me. All the boys for me, they just leave me blue.